Well, good morning. We'll keep our presentation very swift because I know everyone's getting hungry and it's cold and we need to move on. So as your UK PR agency, we are just going to do a very quick overview on what's happening in the UK media because that's got some really big implications onto our activity moving forward. A very quick snapshot because you'll have these slides afterwards anyway, but basically print titles are generally in decline. The fact that the News of the World failed left a huge gap in the Sunday market. The Sun on Sunday is helping to fill that, but things are generally in decline, although the Daily Telegraph in the broadsheet still has the highest circulation, but is like everything declining. And the Daily Mail is still our best performing newspaper. The declines in print obviously mean that online is becoming increasingly important, as we all know, and I think that's happening in all markets. And what we're finding is that separate content is now needed for online versions. And in the world of consumer magazines, really diverse titles like Cosmopolitan, GQ, Harper's Bazaar are all showing significant growth in the digital arena. The Mail Online is still the biggest newspaper website in the world. So that's a really, really important media for us. And obviously paywalls are meaning that digital subscriptions are moving forward, but obviously people are now paying to access digital content. Looking at the lifestyle sector magazines, strangely the men's lifestyle sector is actually dominated by free titles such as Shortlift and Sport. And the paid-for titles are the ones that are really receiving substantial drop. And if you look at Nuts, which had a 21% drop, so that's actually massive, and obviously they are having serious problems. Stylist is booking the trend in the women's lifestyle, which is having a 1.1% increase year on year, compared to other titles like Glamour and Hello, which are all significantly decreasing. Interestingly, the contract titles are the ones that are showing the most loyalty with readership, and again, those niche titles such as the John Lewis magazine, banking magazines, any of the contract titles I think are areas that we really need to look at as well moving forward. I won't go into all the vagaries of the regional newspapers, but unfortunately the situation there is very similar to everywhere else, that the numbers are declining, that the regional picture is not looking good either, and their print numbers are in significant decline. What we're finding is that the Press Association, which is the medium that the regional newspapers actually take their information, a lot of their information from, is where we really need to focus our efforts to make sure that the relevant information, breaking stories, news, and particularly video content is going out to the relevant titles.
Okay, looking at broadcast, in the UK at the moment, it's really dominated by sort of reality TV shows, and in terms of destinations, there's quite a lot of opportunity there at the moment that we're seeing really develop. Things like getting involved in things like Britain's Next Top Model, The Bachelor, The Apprentice, and The X Factor are where destinations are getting quite a lot of airtime, be it hosting an episode in your country or sort of joining in with a competition or something like that is where we're getting a lot of coverage. The main sort of morning TV programme, ITV Daybreak, has seen a big decline due to editorial changes and new presenters, but they are sort of reassessing that at the moment, so we're hoping to see that go up again, and nonetheless they are really sort of doing a lot of destination focused pieces that maybe span over a few weeks and a few different episodes, so it's still something that's worth considering as a destination or as a region for getting a good return. Food and celebrity programming are still the biggest sort of areas, and we're seeing a lot more production companies coming to destinations to create programmes specifically. Things like Food Tripper, which actually won one of our broadcast awards in the Journalism Awards this year with their lovely piece on Grenada's food and culture. Those kind of programmes is really sort of we're seeing develop a lot more. And social media, again, is a really big area to focus on in the UK. Bloggers really are going from strength to strength, and we're seeing a lot more, becoming more influential perhaps than your sort of traditional media. People that are really engaged in following that specific writer as opposed to just following a publication, it seems to be where people are getting a lot more leverage at the moment. And perhaps even if the numbers aren't as huge, you're really being able to communicate with a very engaged audience that are interested perhaps in diving or something really specific and niche that you wouldn't be able to get contact with through your traditional media. There's been 2 really big travel blogger conferences in Europe this year, Travel Bloggers Unite and TBEX. And one of the big trends coming out of this conference is where that bloggers are trying to be a bit more commercially minded now. They're trying, the ones, especially ones that are living off their blog, are trying to work out how to make it work and to monetize their blogs. And we're seeing quite a lot of groups come together. So you might have, say, 10 bloggers, and you send 3 of them away, but any content that's produced gets pushed out across those 10 blogs, 10 Twitter feeds, 10 Facebook pages, that kind of thing. So there's some interesting things happening that I think we're going to see a lot more of next year that might make some interesting options for destinations and hotels and so on. Facebook's continuing to be really important, as is Twitter, as a way to just engage directly with those consumers, answer their questions, encourage them to go to the destination, and also use their experience in the destinations on their return. We're also seeing some big brands such as Red Bull build some really, really key homepages and websites that are actually set to kind of rival your traditional media, such as Red Bull's homepage, which looks like a action news website. And the content there is really tailored towards, you know, the people that they want to engage with and their followers and their fans. So it's quite an interesting move that we're seeing develop. In terms of consumer spending, Visa's recent UK expenditure index found that sales are up 3% in September this year compared to May 2009, which is positive as well for the travel industry, that it's, as well as clothing, has been hotels and restaurants that we've seen a lot of the spending focused on. I think really the news that we're sort of out of recession and that kind of thing is hopefully going to give a real boost for the coming year and encourage people to get out and spend their money and perhaps take that holiday.
For how long, but
yeah, we'll see.
We can be optimistic for the time being.
Exactly, exactly. See if it lasts, but hopefully it would encourage people to get booking holidays that perhaps they haven't been able to do over the last couple of years.
So looking at what these trends mean, how are we going to be focusing in 2013? I mean, obviously, we're continuing to change perceptions, and by change perceptions, I mean build up on the idea that there is more to the Caribbean than just more than just a beach and lying in the sunshine. So really continue to raise awareness of the many faces and themes of the Caribbean and the depth of the destination across all media, but particularly looking at how we can crack the social media element and work with bloggers more closely and really develop the online content for the destination. And in doing that, really strengthen the CTO's voice, and so that we become more sort of engaging, and that we can speak out on industry issues, and that we're differentiating you from the competition, which obviously has to be the absolute priority for us. Our plans for 2013, we're obviously, Nina will talk through what we're planning for 2013. These are still very much in discussion stage, so there's nothing that's been confirmed at the moment, but we're hoping well, we'll be presenting plans towards the end of the year, but obviously we need to focus on your mission statement, which, you know, you have to be the most desirable year-round warm weather destination, but also looking at, as I said before, what there is to do in those destinations. So exactly what you can offer, looking at the niche markets, looking at where we can still drive traffic, looking at the growth sectors such as the activity market, so we can really sort of get bums on seats basically and develop interest in the destination. And as I said, the social media campaign has to form a very important part of that, working alongside our traditional print media relations, and really looking at how we can develop and grow and make the online content work better for us.
Yeah, so many of our plans, we know it's going to be a difficult year again, but we want to really maximise by using those people who know the Caribbean and can really act as ambassadors for us, be it the diaspora or just people that have taken holidays there. And we think that a really strong way of doing that is going to be via social media. It's a great way via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all sorts of different things, Google Plus conferences. You know, there's so many options now that destinations are starting to tap into, and we really want to use the people that have the knowledge and have the passion and the experience, and they've had a wonderful holiday there, and use those kind of people as ambassadors for the Caribbean. We're also going to be putting a lot of focus into Caribbean Month for next year in the UK, which we're hoping we can turn into a sort of bigger thing that, as well as the focus on training, is something that's really key for consumers as well. So we want to have a bit more of a commercial focus this year and ensure that we link in some great editorial opportunities alongside some nice advertising and that kind of thing for the whole region. So we've already started some conversations with publications like Tatler and Condé Nast Traveller who are interested in Caribbean supplements for next year, and we sort of want to really make sure everything times nicely and ties in together. We'll also be focusing on a more regional sort of area, so we'll be looking particularly at Scotland and Ireland, where we'd like to arrange some road shows and media dinners there to sort of tap into the trade and consumer sides of those areas. And overall, trade is going to be another strong focus, because we're seeing, actually, interestingly, compared to some of the other markets, ABTA recently announced that people are actually turning more to travel agents here in the UK, and in particular some of the younger customers who might not have used travel agents before. So we really want to strengthen those relationships and make sure that the trade are really up to speed with what's going on across the Caribbean. So aside from that, continuing to be the CTO's consumer and trade-facing press office, we'll be working on the 2 annual media events in May and during World Travel Market, and also supporting in the big conferences that the CTO does each year. So we've got the Sustainable Tourism Conference in Trinidad and Tobago in April, and the State of the Industry in Martinique in September. So we'll be working with the media there and trying to get people over, and as much coverage as possible coming out of those. And finally, another big sort of plan for this year is to try and get the members and CTO staff directly in contact with a lot of key travel industry figures. So we're developing a series of round tables. The first one we're looking at having with the travel editor of the Mirror, to basically get in the same room and have a good brainstorm about what's going on in the Caribbean, what needs to be done, and that kind of thing.
What works, what you can feature, which media want to go where, but you can hear it directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yeah, and bounce lots of ideas around as well, what people are thinking and feeling. We're also looking at having one with the manager of Travel Bloggers Unite, who would give a good insight into social media and working with bloggers, and really what your destination could do to benefit from that kind of thing. So all those facets really we want to bring together into a nice, strong, integrated campaign where everything feeds into each other and we just get a nice, clear message out to consumer and trade.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
No? No questions? Well, thank you very much. Just to let you know, all the presentations will go on onecaribbean.org, and anybody who also wants them sent to them as a PDF, please give your card to Anne-Marie Brooks at the back, and Anne-Marie will make sure you get the presentations as quickly as possible. And what you've seen today from Germany, Holland, France, Italy, the UK, plus what I've gone through is basically more or less what we intend to do for you in 2013. We'll be going through this again with our board, and I'll have some of my board members. I think I've got 2 board members here, haven't I? Jean-Marc and Sharon. Stan, don't be shy, come on, don't be shy. Right. So they've got their work cut out for them, because as well as managing their own destinations and what they do, they also put a lot of time and effort into ensuring that the work of the Caribbean is taken care of. You'll get the information. We need your feedback. Even if you've been a bit quiet, but there's something you want to say so. Let us know, because at the end of the day, we're a membership-driven organisation, and we work for the membership, and it's very important that we stay on track with what you want. So thank you so much for joining us. We said we were going to finish at 12 and we did, and thank you so much to the presenters. Excellent, and thank you for all of what you've done. Thought-provoking, get the questions out there, but most importantly, you've caused our membership to have to think about what they're going to be doing in 2013, how we're going to be targeting the silver surfers, the youngsters. I mean, there's so many different groups out there, and at the end of the day, we've got to have a plan.